Let's see how we can use PlotStat to assess investments. Here on the PlotStat dashboard, we'll use the Help Me Start option, and we'll select Investing. Here the suggested action is Investment Brief, which allows you to conduct deep research on investment opportunities. And while you can analyze various things like fundamentals, market position, and financial performance, you can also compare investment decisions against each other, and I'll show you how. So let's get started. Here we're going to select Investment Analysis, and we'll simply enter a company name. For this one, we're going to select Netflix. And we have some investment preferences if we wanted to, including investment strategy, risk tolerance, investment amount, and investment timeline. I'll leave these all as the default options, but if you have different details for those attributes, then you should update them. You can also provide additional context. For example, if you're looking to make money fast, you're looking for long-term growth, or you want to avoid certain risks, or you want to gravitate towards certain opportunities, you can provide that additional context here. For this, we're just putting in the company name and we're going to hit generate. It'll take a moment to generate and we'll have our brief. And there you have it, the Netflix investment brief. Let's have a look at what was provided. PlotStat always tries to prefer the most recent information, and so here you'll see business model and operations, market position, growth and scale for the most recent information that's available. You'll see competitors. These might be other companies I want to consider investing in. Financial performance. Here we see the most recent information up to Q1 of 2025. Profitability and cash flow, key financial metrics, and an investment analysis with pros and cons of making an investment in Netflix, with an overall rating being 3.5 out of 5. There's key people and key events, and then your sources and references. There's some suggested sections that you can add. Go ahead and add one of these. Here you have your risk assessment and mitigation. So if you were to invest in Netflix, these are some things to consider to mitigate risk. Now, I have Netflix here in a brief. I want to compare it to some other investments I'm tracking. So I'll hit the compare button, and here I have Costco and Google. I'm going to compare this to Costco, which is not really an apples to apples comparison, but I'm curious how these relate and which one I might want to invest in. So I'll hit compare, and I'll give it a moment to generate. And here's our comparison to Costco. You can see the two companies compared on a series of characteristics, from investment stage, market size and opportunity, business model, and other details. Along the bottom, you'll start to see things like risk profile, capital requirements, expected return potential, and many other features. Details that the model wasn't able to provide that were accurate enough for our threshold of facts are not provided. So if there's things like time horizon or exit opportunity that we're not confident on, we won't hallucinate and return made-up information. At the bottom are things like key takeaways, including business model divergence, maturity and growth drivers, and risk profiles. Like any other section, you can refine this if it's not meeting your needs, or you can delete it. Now let's say I wanted to compare Google. I'll go back to the comparison tool and I'll select Google, and I'll hit compare. And here we have our comparison for Google, which shows much of the same information. biasing for accuracy, and leaving out information that's either not relevant or not available. Now that my analysis is complete, I can consider if I want to invest in this or not, and I can also track my investments. So if I decide to invest in it, I can say how much and save that as a reflection. Now that I've done my investment analysis on Netflix, I'm going to evaluate that investment with some financial advisors. And evaluations allow you to test hypotheses and validate ideas by gathering insights from cohorts. So first, we need to create a cohort. So I'll come here and I'll create a cohort. And for this one, I'm just going to type my own. So this is financial advisors. You could do some optional demographics. For this one, we want to make sure that these have master's degrees and they are financial advisors. We'll leave everything else default and we'll save the cohort. Here's our financial advisors, and now we'll create an evaluation. Okay, and I'll select the financial advisors cohort. I'll leave the additional options as their default settings and I'll run this evaluation. Here we go. Here's the evaluation of the Netflix investment hypothesis. We have the information I provided and a summary report. I'll let you pause and review this in details, but here I can see the cohort of financial advisors approaches an investment in Netflix with a cautious, even skeptical outlook, particularly concerning the notion of it being a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. While acknowledging Netflix's past performance and growth, their primary concern lies in its current market position and the intensifying competitive landscape. They suggest that a more sophisticated and diversified investment strategy is required, implying that a direct comparison to or preference over a broad index fund might be oversimplistic or optimistic. Their general sentiment leans towards prudence and a less aggressive stance on an individual stock speculation, especially for a single company when compared with a broader market investment. You can read the rest of it here, and you can see the cohort responses below. You can see detailed answers to each question from the financial advisors, and you can get a reasonable overview of your hypothesis, including strengths and weaknesses, as well as continued recommendations on how to move forward. From here, you could create a presentation, or you could share this with a fellow investor or friend.